Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the North Node in the 12th house in the natal horoscope. As most of you know, the North Node is connected with the soul's mission and purpose, kind of like the second time around, so to speak. And it's something that is generally emphasized or accentuated in the second part of the person's life, say roughly after age 30. The South Node represents that thing that maybe we need to detach ourselves from a little bit, not necessarily eradicate completely, but it's that redundant spot and that part in our lives that maybe was overemphasized the first half of our lives and something that might have been to our detriment to some degree. Now, anyway, let me get started. The thing with the North Node and the 12, that's connected with sorrows and the self-undoing and limitations, restrictions, and those things are things that may need to be addressed in the second half of the person's life. The sixth house, we look at that as health, employment, service, animals, which is like our pets, and it is generally going to pertain to our pets, and just general service to others, our health. Now, the first part of one's life that have this position may have put a lot of emphasis and been dominated by their work, by having some kind of regimented routine, or even the pets to some degree. There might have been a little overemphasis on this. The employment, perhaps the person was dominated by work. When we look at the 12th house, it's about maybe taking the step back a little bit, about some introversion and introspection, about dealing with our limitations, our restrictions, doing some self-analysis, which is the introspection part of the deal. This could be something where this person might have to confront some of their deficiencies and failings, and by doing so, create a life for them where they are happier in their workplace. Perhaps there were some deficiencies in them that caused some certain problems at their employment. Perhaps this caused certain fluctuations in jobs, and this might have been the person that went going from one job to another, and or just simply put too much emphasis on their work life. And really, when sometimes a person, it's not necessarily bad being stagnant every now and then and just getting into that meditation and that relaxed state, the person, for this person. Now, this person, the 12th house is connected with our secret enemies and adversaries as well. Perhaps when this person takes a step back and relaxes and does some thinking, realizes maybe who their friends are and who is actually camouflaged as a friend, who is really with this person and who is really against them, and thus unveiling possible quote-unquote secret enemies in the process of doing so. This is something where perhaps this person was like a workaholic in the first part of their lives and always felt compelled maybe to service other people, where maybe they should have maybe serviced themselves to some degree, and providing a service to themselves is maybe by relaxing a little bit and maybe taking it easy and taking the emphasis off the work and the employment and any duties for other people, being of, I guess, what is it, like servitude, or doing something of a service for others. There's nothing wrong to help other people and being of service to others, but at the same time, one must look at themselves from time to time and see, find a balance maybe in their lives a little bit. And not everything has to be on a regimented schedule. Life doesn't have to be like the army and being punctual and being up at exact time every day, or doing a same kind of routine on a consistent day-to-day basis. This is not necessarily to say that this person has to become lackadaisical or lethargic or succumb to inertia. What it really is about is that this person needs to find a balance between the side where maybe they can have their little space for themselves and their quiet time and solitude, and doing their meditation, their introspection when needed, and by doing so can be perhaps have a happier life that's connected with work, service, and employment. And there's no such thing as maybe paying too much attention to our pets, and I respect and understand that. But there's no need to be dominated by worry concerning them either. Um, if a pet requires only requires a certain amount of food a day, they require their certain amount of water, perhaps. But I mean, there's no need to go. Perhaps this person may have gone overboard, maybe for in some isolated instances, maybe had maybe at some certain instances may have over done a little bit more than needed as far as the care for the pet at the expense of their own selves to some degree. And don't get me wrong, it's important, it's imperative if one has a pet to take care of them at the way they need to be taken care of, and they need to have their needs met. But at the same time, no one should ever have to, how can I say this, overemphasize something where to a point where maybe their mind is dominated by worry as far as their pets go. If the pet is healthy, that is fine. I mean, if you're taking care of them, that's good. But you don't want to have get anxiety over it in the process. I mean, you just do your basics for them and take care of them, and that's it. But don't let it get to a point where it takes over maybe your life on some level. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the North Node in the 12th house in the natal horoscope. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the North Node conjunct the Ascendant in a natal horoscope. I'll be starting my aspect series with the North Node. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis on a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.